Hello folks, today this video will all be focused on a new theme, on a new aspect, on an aspect of spirituality which I'd be very interested in promoting, especially on my channel. The idea of spirituality, well, I know it is a very large, it is a very complex term. However, I've seen so many people write comments on internet, on different forums about the idea of angel numbers. The idea of angel numbers, mirror hours, repetitive mirror hours, and I've always wondered why they say they've been seeing these repetitive numbers ever on end, like for years, but I still wonder why they haven't tried to at least Google search the stuff. Now the point is quite obvious. I responded to a few of the guys, and one actually told me that I should be having my account pumped up with a few videos like the such, because he said, well, I'm kind of knowledgeable. I might be, I'm not boasting that I'd be an all-knowing person. However, I do have a habit of reading a lot. Now, the point is very simple. What are angel numbers? Well, the idea of angel numbers was, how to call it, not long ago presented. They were considered repetitive numbers, sequences of numbers that repeat themselves, irrespective of being only one or two numbers, or 10 numbers, or 100 numbers, like somewhat in my case. So these points are said to be hints from the universe regarding whatever you are planning to do, whatever you have done, but usually they regard plans in your life that you are to undertake, and they are to be taken not lightly, and they are said to repeat themselves until you are curious enough to actually see what they mean. It is what many people call as synchronicity. And the point is that the more authentic you are and the more open you are to yourself, you can see that this synchronicity will happen in such a way that it's gonna be almost instant. At times it happens to me because I'm walking down the street and I suddenly began thinking at something regarding a novel that I wanna write, and I was just imagining facts in my head, and I think that in 1 hour or 1 hour and a half I saw around 40 11s. Okay, like many will say, it's just a great coincidence. I'm not entirely into this, but still they do seem to have a point. After all, why do at a certain time all the cars with a similar number or a same number on a number plate just seem to keep rolling in front of you? You know, it's like there are so many numbers you can see on number plates, but for some reason you get to see, I don't know, 11s, 22s, 33s, and the such. Now, in order to interpret numbers, there are many interpretations. For example, numbers can be interpreted as the sum of mirror hours, triple hours, reversed hours. They can be interpreted as angel numbers, like you see a certain number and you take it and interpret it, and those also have multiple interpretations as well. And well, there are other interpretations like the quantum numbers, but I'm not so proficient in this. So let's say that you are seeing the number 1, okay? So out of these you're actually seeing number 1. Well, if you're seeing number 1 as your angel number, number 1 is the number of the initiator. Okay, so Gabrovoi, for example, has a list of his numbers and what they mean into a person's life based on their date of birth. The numbers that form their date of birth come with positives and negatives, but usually come up with positives, and each number has their positive and their negative, more or less negative meaning. More on that in another video, most surely. I'll also post in other videos some links to sites that I usually use. So when you see number 1, a lot, it means initiation. It also means a bit of egotism. It goes, a bit towards self-realization. It is the first number. It is the number that opens a new cycle. It also acts the same if you see, for example, the hour 11 in the morning or the hour 11 p.m. Okay, it means that you have started a new cycle. Now, if you see it repeatedly, it doesn't mean that you've necessarily started a different cycle. It tells you that you have started a new cycle. Changes have happened deep within you, be it that you're conscious of them or not, but usually these hours occur when you have even the slightest conscious thought, let's say, of change, like you want to change something, and they will come accordingly. So one reminds you to be somewhat independent, because if you want to pursue things in your life, you will have to be solitary, more or less, like don't be secluded, don't get it into fanaticism, okay? So number one is about a new beginning, staying strong to your beliefs. If you see numbers, if you see numbers that are created out of 1, for example 11s, 111, like 111 and 1111, these are messages that how to be called, they are amplifiers. So when you see a certain number and you know its core meaning, seeing more of that same number in a greater number, like you see 5111, okay, so you have the vibration of 5 and 3 ones. It means that the message of 1 is tripled in this case. So that message has more of an impact on the ones, okay? So if you see 11 is taken differently. It is still the beginning of a new cycle, but it is said that when you see 11s, 111s and such, it is in such a way that the universe is said to take a photo, okay, a glimpse of your thoughts, and you will gain based on those thoughts. So you can also take 1 as an invitation to start imagining, like it is called visualizing, it is called visualization. This is a powerful technique. It is said that if you want something, you have to call it into the present, and number 1 is the number of the present, okay? It is the number of I am, okay? It is the beginner, and you cannot begin anything if you do not say I am, because these are considered the most powerful words in the universe. It is said that every time you say I am and you follow it with something, you kind of create your own reality, more or less. Like if you end up with a lot of negative people that put you down, you'll end up creating a lot of stories, and you say I am bad, I am weak, I am unable, and all sorts of stuff. So basically you can say that you have started the cycle when you say that I am, okay? And whatever you believe in your life, the brain is rooted in such a way that it will just keep looking for evidence towards whatever you affirm yourself. So if you say that you suck, well, unfortunately the brain will be very busy to find you evidence that you suck. And of course it will use different filters, so even if you do 10 good things and you fail once, those 10 good things are not relevant, because what you want to experience is I suck, okay, or those things that put you down. So therefore the brain will only take that into account. So 1 is the initiator, 1 is the number of the leader, as it is also considered. It is the beginning, a new cycle, so it kind of preps you up. It is said that when you see 11s, 111s and such, the universe took a glimpse of your thoughts, and usually it is best to change your thoughts into positive ones, more or less, like more positive ones. So the point is, it's also a reminder. If you are angry and you are very close to yourself, like you are open to yourself, then the point is that if you get angry with someone and you curse them, you might happen to see an 11 pass you by, okay? That's a reminder. Whenever you see 11s and 1s and such, put yourself a wish. And usually your wishes should sound something like I am enjoying, I am thankful for, it's like when you put the wishes, you live in the opposite way, just like Don Pena and many of the billionaires, the real billionaires, those who are also not necessarily rich, but who are also abundant, because richness is an illusion. You have the money, but you don't know how to use it. If you have the money and you know how to use it, and you also have income, okay, then that is called abundance, financial abundance, let's call it. So one invites you to make yourself wishes, and also to visualize things as if you're already having them. So you'll have to learn a bit how to meditate on that, how to visualize yourself already having what you desire, and also cutting it out with the I want, because vibrationally speaking, I want represents a lack, because if you want something, you tell the universe that you don't have it, and it's like wishing you don't have it. Now, there's a lot to speak about one. Now, the question would be, but what if I see 1111? Well, if you see 1111, for example, as an hour, okay, the mirror hour 1111, as of what I remember, 1111 is an hour that signifies that you should keep up with whatever you're doing. However, it does remind you that you should keep a bit attentive. Whatever you're into, you're not yet into the position to take so many critical decisions. So it most likely represents something that you've begun, but you're not necessarily proficient on it. It doesn't mean that you should give up, just keep on. So the point is that 1111 reminds you that you shouldn't give up on your ideas. Keep your authenticity, like remember, be authentic towards yourself, and this way you can solve things far better. Lasă-mă în pace, fac un red, lasă-mă acum. And so the point is that with 1111, the way you interpret mirror hours, also triple hours and the such, you also sum up its numbers, okay? So that's the same with angel numbers. You do this trick for each and every one. So if you see 111, you take into account the numbers, the individual numbers, like 1 in 3 times in this case, and you also sum them up. You see 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3, so you also have to take into account the vibration of 3. When you have mirror hours, you sum them up as well, and the way you sum them up will be something like 11 plus 11, which will equal 22, so they have a powerful vibration of 2 as well. Now let's move on. Number 2 is about, let's call them relationships. It is no longer the number of ego, I am, but not ego, like let's say self-centeredness, not necessarily ego, because you have to be egotistical in this world as well in order to succeed, because if you're not at least a bit egotistical, others will come and take advantage of you. So you have to find your balance in between altruism and some egotism. Now number 2 is all about relationships. It is telling you that you will gonna have let's say out of 11 plus 11, 22. It says that your relationships will be very deep. The relationships you will come up with in time, that you will encounter, you will form in time, based on following your dreams as well, because 2 is the continuation of the cycle. So 1 is the beginner, you begin starting your own work. 2 reminds you that you cannot do things alone, and you need to, follow up with others. Surround yourself with people who are far better than you, because you can learn from them. And give up that mentality that if they are better than you, they don't need you. This is a way to check people, okay? Because through this, you can see which people are authentic and which are not. Because if they are authentic, they will stay by your side. If they are not, they will probably leave, and they won't care a bit. Now with number 2, it says that your relationships will be very more potent, let's call them. If you see, for example, 22, well, 22 is a number that reminds you to stay a bit positive. It is a master number, just like 11. It is considered also the most, as of what I read from a source, the most important, the most powerful of the master numbers 11, 22 and 33. 11 is the master number of the builder, if I don't call it wrong. It is the number that tells that you are the one who has to build their own destiny. 22 shows as a number that also your relations are very important to you, so you shouldn't give them up. However, try seeking like-minded persons instead of any person. So in order to start your own cycle, you need 1 that tells you that you have to do your work. 2 tells you to surround yourself with the corresponding people, you see. So first of all you start alone, then you have to acquire, help from other people. Things can also be done alone, but they are always better in a couple, okay, or, well, not necessarily a romantic couple. 22 can also show that a couple might be ahead, might be up ahead if you are single, but this is not necessarily as much intended to mean as the idea of surround yourself with the right people. Okay, I've seen another special hour, 7:47. It's an hour that I keep seeing. Now, shortly about number 3. Number 3 is called the number of the Holy Trinity, which, well, considering the Bible and religion, I'm not that much into it anymore. 3 is the number of family, because it is the representative of a couple and the element of the offsprings. So with number 3 tells you that you need to focus even more on whatever you want to do. Now, number 3 has a powerful vibration, especially if it comes under the term of the 33. 33 is the master number of the teacher. So if you see number 33 quite a lot, I usually do. I usually see very many, like around 50 different numbers and mirror hours and such. At times quite a day. Now 33 is the master number of the teacher, you see. It is also the year when Jesus died and numerous of the ascended masters have died. In terms of angel numbers, 33 is the master number of the ascended masters also. It reminds you that you are a teacher as well, so a part of what you have, or everything that you have learned, wouldn't hurt transmitting it back to people, in a way serving as an enlightenment tool for others. But also don't force it, okay? You're not here to force things onto people. You're here to follow your dreams, to follow the course of your life. You're not here to change people. You're here to change yourself, and through changing yourself, people may also change. Not everyone is ready for the steps you are taking. Now, when you see number 2 also, it tells you that whatever you are pursuing, keep it up, because everything will end up well, especially if you see 222, for example. Everything will end up well, but however, you have to keep up a positive vibration. Number 3 is about continuing, is about also communication, so it tells you if it's a master number, if it's a master number, angel number, it will tell you that you have good skills in communication, or you should develop good skills in communication, because in the end it's the most important skill. We live in a society, and if you don't know how to communicate, you're in a way a bit crippled. You're not socially dead, but you're in a way crippled. If you have a lot of things, if you wanna follow a spiritual path in a way and aid others in their enlightenment, you will require the energy of 3 in a way. Now number 4 is the quantum element of the quantum number of the elements, of the 4 elements, the 4 earthly elements. The 5th one is ether, and it is not an earthly element. 4 is the number of progress. It is the number of also a bit materialism. it is the number of going forward. You see, you can't say forward without saying 4, right? So moving forwards, you see, with number 4, it's well, it is also a powerful number. It reminds you that you should keep up with whatever you are doing. Number 4 is also the angel number representative of the angels. If you see 4